The second installment of The Last of Us begins in the year 2003 in Indonesia. Authorities arrive and apprehend a woman, who is later revealed to be a professor of mycology by the name of Ibu Ratna, who works at a nearby university. She is brought to a laboratory with the purpose of utilizing her expertise to combat the outbreak of a mysterious infection. Upon arrival, she is presented with a sample of the cordyceps fungus. The specimen presented to Ibu Ratna is that of an infected human, bearing a bite wound on her left leg. Despite her initial belief that the individual cannot survive the infection, it is revealed that the infected can survive as it deviates from the cause of infection portrayed in the game series. Upon examination, Ibu discovers tendrils in the mouth of the specimen, similar to the infected individuals seen in the first episode. Ibu is horrified to learn that the source of the outbreak, referred to as Patient Zero, is still at large. Despite her shock, she is brought on board to work towards finding a vaccine and a cure for the infection. However, she delivers the chilling news that there is no vaccine as a solution. Instead, she proposes a drastic measure of bombing the city, with all its inhabitants still trapped inside. As the situation unfolds, we see Ellie awaken to find herself in a building, with sunlight streaming through the windows. She finds Joel and Tess both looking at her with suspicion. She brings up the topic of the daily tests that Marlene had her undergo to ensure that she did not become infected, and expresses her surprise at the actions taken. As for Joel, it is revealed that his wrist is broken with a hairline fracture, yet he brushes off the injury, insisting it will heal quickly. He expresses his desire to take Ellie back and find an alternative way to obtain the car battery, but Tess manages to convince him to continue forward with their current plan. Tess attempts to gain more information from Ellie, specifically her significance. Ellie responds with sarcasm and eventually reveals that there is a base camp of a resistance group, known as the Fireflies, located to the west, where they are working on finding a cure. Joel once again expresses his desire to return, but Tess persists in convincing him to continue forward with their current plan. As the group continues on their journey, it is revealed that many of the larger cities were bombed in an effort to contain the spread of the infection. They come across a state house, located within a 10-minute walk, but the journey is fraught with danger. Joel takes the rear while Ellie and Tess converse. Ellie shares that she was 14 years old when she became infected, and that she has grown up as an orphan. Although there are not large numbers of infected roaming the streets, there are other dangers present in the world. As they continue their journey, an eerie scream can be heard in the distance, highlighting the ongoing dangers. The group makes their way through a flooded hotel, with Ellie repeating some of the jokes from the game. However, given the potential for infected to be nearby, her actions are not particularly wise. Despite this, they manage to reach the 10th floor, and to their surprise, they remain completely dry throughout the journey. This is in line with the game's portrayal of the scenario. As the group continues, Ellie and Joel engage in a conversation, which quickly devolves into a series of bitter exchanges. Ellie brings up the guard Joel killed, and the topic of regretful deaths, but their conversation is cut short as Tess returns. Tess has found a safe route through the building, and as they move forward, they encounter a large number of infected congregating on the streets and spilling out of a nearby building. Tess notes that the cordyceps fungus is interconnected, meaning that stepping on a piece of it in one area can attract infected from other areas. This serves as a subtle foreshadowing of events to come. As the group discovers the long way round to be impassable, they are left with no other option than to take the shortcut through the museum. Though the building appears to be overrun by fungus, the outside is completely dry. They decide to venture forward, moving through the building. The group's journey takes a dangerous turn when they encounter a pair of clickers, deadly creatures that are attracted to sound. The sound design in this scene is particularly effective, adding to the tension as the monsters shuffle into the room. Joel instructs the group to remain quiet, but Ellie makes a noise and the creatures attack. The scene is filled with intense moments as Joel and Ellie struggle to fend off the creatures, ultimately managing to kill both of them. However, Ellie is scratched and Tess suffers a twisted ankle as a result of the encounter, highlighting the importance of being prepared with weapons such as shivs. Upon encountering the clicker, the team decided to ascend to the rooftop. Unfortunately, Tess had sustained an injury to her ankle, so Joel assisted her in climbing the stairs. Tess expressed her disappointment in Joel's pessimistic attitude and urged him to visit Ellie. The scene, taken directly from the game, portrayed Joel and Ellie gazing at the State House in the distance, standing amidst the ruins of the city. Despite the brief moment of tranquility, the duo knew they had to press on in their journey. Upon arriving at the State House, Joel ventured ahead to inspect the area. He discovered fresh blood spatters, indicating that someone had recently been inside the building. Tess and Ellie proceeded forward, finding a number of corpses on the ground. Joel followed closely behind, surveying the destruction. It appears that the Federal Emergency Disaster Relief Administration (FEDRA) were not responsible for the massacre, unlike in the game. Instead, it seemed that all the Fireflies, the rebel group, had been killed after being infected by the virus. Tess made the decision to remain behind, as she had been infected with the virus. Instead of a rushed and intense goodbye, as in the game where the guards were closing in and Tess sacrifices herself to save the group, the scene played out at a slower pace. The goodbye was heart-wrenching due to the knowledge of the limited time they had left together. Tess persuaded Joel to continue on their journey and make their way to Bill and Frank's place. "You keep her alive and you set everything right," Tess said, gesturing towards Ellie's healed arm. As they were about to leave, one of the infected began to stir on the ground, causing Joel to quickly shoot it in the head. The tendrils of the infected started to move, indicating that the infected were being awakened and were beginning to pursue them. Tess, determined to give Joel and Ellie a chance to escape, devised a plan to slow down the infected. She doused the floor in oil and set it ablaze using a handful of grenades. "Save who you can save," Tess said, as Ellie and Joel quickly fled the scene. The inferno would hopefully buy them enough time to put some distance between themselves and the pursuing infected. As hordes of infected flooded into the building, Tess frantically tried to ignite her lighter, her plan to slow them down hanging on this one crucial step. While it would have been easier for her to simply shoot a grenade on the floor, she persisted with her plan. However, her efforts were in vain as one of the infected managed to overpower her, violently assaulting and infecting her with its tendrils stuck in her mouth, before she could light the oil on fire. With Tess's sacrifice, the building was consumed by a massive explosion, the inferno engulfing the infected and providing a distraction for Joel and Ellie to make their escape. As they quickly made their way out, not a single infected followed, allowing them to continue on to their next destination, safe and sound. Thanks for watching this episode's explanation. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you in the next video. Stay with us and take care.